you first need to turn off your computer, unplug it, and remove the side panel of your computer case. Before going any further, I feel I need to do the responsible thing and make you aware that there is a possibility of damaging your PC components due to an electrostatic discharge. If you touch them and are all charged up with static electricity, it is possible to damage your components. Some people will tell you you shouldn't touch anything in your PC unless you're wearing an anti-static wrist strap like this one, securely connected to something that is grounded to the earth, or at the very least connected to your computer case, which will equalize the static charge between you and the components that you're working on. CPU, we first need to remove our CPU cooler, and depending on what cooler you have, this process may look very different for you than what I'm showing in this video, which is an Intel stock cooler. Once you have removed your cooler, we need to clean the thermal paste from the integrated heat spreader on the CPU itself, as well as the CPU cooler. To do this, I typically will use some isopropyl alcohol and a paper towel, and then some cotton swabs if needed. Once the thermal paste has all been cleaned off, we can remove our CPU from the socket. To do this, we need to push down this little metal retention lever, push it out of the way from the socket a little bit to unhook it, and then lift the arm up. And this will lift the retention bracket up and away from your CPU. You can then grab your CPU by the edges and lift it out of the socket. Inside the socket, you'll see all these little gold pins. They are very delicate, so to keep from damaging them, it's a very good idea not to touch them at all. At this point, just do your best to hold it by the sides like this. Now, your CPU must be properly oriented to fit into the socket. Intel puts these nice little notches on the CPU here that align with these little tab thingies on the socket, so you can't put it in incorrectly. You'll also notice there's a little triangle here on the CPU that corresponds with a triangle on the socket. Just line everything up and you simply place the CPU onto the socket like so. You then flip the retention bracket down into place, making sure to align the prongs here under the retention screw, and then pull the retention arm down and lock it back into place. You will feel some resistance as you're doing this, but there's nothing to worry about. Just lower the arm and lock it back under the little catch right here. Now all that's left to do is place the CPU cooler back on and you'll be good to go. If you're using the stock heatsink that came with your new CPU in its box, it will probably have thermal paste already applied to it, so all you need to do is install the cooler according to its instructions. But if you're reusing the CPU cooler from your old CPU, or your cooler does not have thermal paste on it already, you're going to need to apply some thermal paste to the top of your CPU before installing your cooler. Two of the most common thermal paste application methods are the line and the P. For the line method, you squeeze out a line of thermal paste like this, and for the P, you place a circle of paste roughly the size of a pea. You can then install your CPU cooler, plug it back into your motherboard CPU fan header, and you're good to go.